So I was on Cargos and Crix's TBC podcast a couple of days ago, which, if you haven't seen it before, definitely go over to Cargos' channel. I'll put a link in the description. Go check that out. He's done, well, him and Crix. Crix is co-host, so they've done like 8 episodes now, I think it is. Really good. They've done a really good Karazhan deep dive, a Paladin deep dive, Warlock. There's loads of stuff on there. Definitely worth going and checking out. Obviously, check the one out that I'm on. You know, I've got to plug that, obviously. But something interesting came up in conversation that Cargos brought up, actually, and I just wanted to take literally 5-10 minutes just to talk about the ramifications of whether it's handled correctly or incorrectly. So the beta and how the beta will be handled, you know, who gets on it, how you get on it, you know, what could that mean for the game, you know, long term, basically, when it goes to launch. Before we get into that, obviously make sure you like, subscribe. There is a giveaway on the channel still, but I've not plugged it for ages, so I'll plug it now. I'll just put a quick picture on screen so you can see. We're on the push to the 5k mark at the moment, so when we hit 5k, you can see it's going to be a 6-month game time giveaway. And I did also say I'd do a £100 Amazon voucher giveaway if we hit 5k subs by Christmas Day. That's looking highly unlikely on the basis it's the 23rd now, but if we were to have some ridiculously big push and we get there in the next 48 hours, then yeah, there'll be a £100 Amazon voucher giveaway as well as obviously the 6 months game time, but that's very wishful thinking. But anyway, beta and how it could be handled wrong. Ultimately, yes, we want content creators, we want streamers on it, you know, that goes without saying. And I know that could be an unpopular opinion amongst you guys who are just wanting to play the game. You don't want to sit in front of a camera, you don't want to create content, which is absolutely fair enough, and you should have an equal shot of getting on the beta as well. Now, historically, it's very difficult to judge how they handle it, because let's use Shadowlands as an example. I was on the Shadowlands beta. How? I didn't even have an active account. I was playing private servers at the time. Yeah, I was still on the beta for a good few months, when, I'll be completely honest with you, I didn't deserve it. I didn't deserve to be on the beta because I wasn't even paying Blizzard for the game, so I have no idea how I got selected to go on it. Yet other people who have been actively playing retail, you know, all through BFA, didn't get on it. So to me, there's not really much of an organised system on how they select it anyway. Now, the reason I think it's important, why they do it the right way, is because ultimately, yeah, all right, okay, like I've said, we want streamers, we want YouTubers, you know, on there so they can start creating content early, they can start creating some hype around the game. You know, you probably watch your favourite streamer, whoever it is, you know, and you want to be watching them play TBC. You want to see the beta, you want to see what sort of state the game's in before, you know, you start getting yourself ready or investing time into your character, you know, yeah, ready for when it actually comes out. But with that aside, like, I'm a terrible beta tester, because I'll sit there and I'll complain about bugs in the game, but don't report them. Now, I know that's wrong. You know, I should probably try and defend myself, but I can't. I was playing the Shadowlands beta, but because I wasn't invested in it, because I knew I wasn't going to play it anyway, every time I come across the bug, I was like, oh my God, like, how have they got this so bad? You know, why is everything bad? Why is it all wrong? Which, you know, that's not how a tester should be. The person who's testing the game should be so committed to making that game better, which obviously, if I was on a TBC beta, I would be. You know, I would be reporting every minor little thing, because we want it to be as polished as possible when it comes out. But that's why, you know, it's important that, let's face it, the majority, I would say the majority of the private server community, they're going to be playing TBC, because that's what happened with Classic. You know, all the private server players all flocked to Classic, created their guilds, you know, was like racing for world first and all of that sort of thing, which the same thing's going to happen in TBC. You're going to see all of these sort of top hardcore private server guilds all then flocking to a Classic TBC release to sort of flex their knowledge, you know, of what they've learned over all these years on private servers into a Classic version of TBC. That's where the difficulty comes, because we know they would make the best testers. Without sounding too arrogant, you know, I've been playing on private servers for, you know, a year or so. You know, I know how I've played multiple private servers as well, so, you know, I know what ones have got it right, what ones have got it wrong, what ones are better scripted. You know, I sort of know what the expectation is, so I would probably make a good TBC beta tester. But what we don't want is everybody just getting invited at random, and we've then got retail players playing TBC like I was, but, you know, in reverse. So retail players playing TBC, not reporting anything, they're just playing it just for fun or just streaming it because, well, they've got a beta key and they can. You know, that's not actually going to add anything to the game. Now, ultimately, I think there's a system that I brought up on the podcast, which I think is quite a good way to balance it. They'll look at all the active Battle.net accounts that they've got and then select them at random. Okay, that's fine. But just select them at random from people whose ratio from classic to retail is higher. What I mean by that is if you're playing both, but you're playing 70% classic, 30% retail, you should be put into that pot. If you're playing 100% classic, then I think you should be even higher up in the order, of selection. So they could do it as like 3 pools. Let's say they've got pure classic players, all they play is classic, they don't log on retail. All they do is play classic, that's it. Then you've got sort of the people who are, 80-20, let's say, they go on retail, they've gone on Shadowlands and just leveled themselves up, and not really, they're still putting the majority of their focus on classic still. And then there should be a third pot, which the third pot is probably the people who are a bit more 50-50. They probably, they could drop classic at any minute to go back to retail, or they could drop retail at any minute to go back to classic. And then if you're saying that there's 100 keys to give away, give 50 to pot 1, 30 to pot 2, and then 20 to pot 3. That then there's a nice balance. You're focusing your audience, and that at least 50% of everybody is fully invested in the game and fully invested in making it work. Now, I think there should also, alongside this, and this is where you're probably going to shoot me down in the comments because you've not seen this before, it would be completely new, something Blizzard have never done, but then there should be an application system. On Battle.net, you go on, you can apply for the beta key. So this would lean more towards your Twitch streamers, your YouTubers, just content creators in general, who if they didn't get selected, they can apply to say, look at me, I've got 50,000 subscribers on YouTube. I play classic. I, predominantly put out classic content. I can build a lot of hype around this for you, to bring more players in, get more players interested. Same would go if you was a Twitch streamer. It's like, look, I average, I'm a partner. I average 150 viewers, in any given stream. I'm not saying I do, obviously not, but, so... can I have a key? And then they can look at it on a case-by-case basis and go, well, actually, this is going to do well for the game. But the way they should look at it then is more or less, I think, if you're a content creator, it shouldn't matter how many subscribers you've got. If you've got 200 subscribers on YouTube, but all you make is classic content, and you're getting a few hundred views every video, that's still more eyes on the game than there would be if you didn't get a beta key. So, I think they shouldn't just be aiming at the big boys and giving those keys. It should be, everyone from small to large, because it doesn't matter. They're going to get more benefit by having somebody who creates content to 200 subscribers than somebody who just plays it for fun and for theirself. And that person who's creating the content as well, they're going to want that to be a long-term thing. So they're going to want the game to be polished, and they're going to want lots of people to play it so they can continue to make content throughout the future. I appreciate this is like this video is more probably aimed at content creators than just the general sort of WoW, TBC community, if you like. But I just think it was an interesting conversation on the podcast when we was talking about this, because we all had different views. I mean, my view personally is open beta. Anybody can go on it, even if they just done it open beta every weekend, and during the week was only those that was accepted. But there's nothing to hide, is there? There's nothing to hide at all, because if you want to play TBC, you can go on a private server. So if you can go on a private server and play TBC, then you're practically playing a beta, if you like. The only thing that's going to actually really be massively different from a TBC private server to a beta is their tuning and their bug fixes and stuff like that. But they've got nothing to hide. They've done the game once before, so we know what to expect. All we actually want to do is help. We want to help them make the game as bug-free and as polished as physically possible when it comes out. So my preference would be open beta. I would have it open beta all the time, as in like just do 4 weeks of open beta, get all that bug report, get all that data, and then, start polishing it up before I release. The reason I say about open beta really is because if you think about it, the private server community probably, the majority, I would like to say, probably hasn't got a WoW subscription. They probably just are specifically playing primarily only private servers, so they don't pay for a WoW subscription, so they probably would never get a beta invite, and those are the guys with the knowledge. They're the ones who can probably add the most to a beta environment for TBC. So that's why I think it needs to be handled carefully. As I say, I appreciate this is quite short. It's not really a massively informative video for anybody. It's really just to get some thoughts out there on how would you want the beta to be handled? You know, do you want to be on the beta? Are you not bothered? You'd rather just wait till the game comes out because you don't want to burn out, or you know, you don't want to ruin the nostalgia of it by playing it early. You know, are you playing on TBC private servers and you want to be on the beta? You know, again, this is one of those things where we want it out there in the community with everyone sort of starting to discuss how it should be handled, because Blizzard may listen. They may listen and go, well, actually, no, let's do an open beta. Let's do a closed beta for the first couple of weeks and then do an open beta for 4 weeks. You know, who knows? You know, these conversations can spur things off. So, as I say, if you like this little rant, like, subscribe. As I say, check out the giveaway, and I'll see you on the next one.